Update. I've now had the VESC for a couple of days running. I got the opportunity to take it down to Reveille Peak Ranch in, not in Austin, but near Austin. All my trails got rained out, so I had to hook up with my boys from down south, and holy shit, that is a badass place. You have to do whatever you can to make the April 1st, March 31st weekend for the underground festival slash race. That place is going to be really awesome. But all that aside, how has my VESC learning curve linearity been going? Have I arced? Um, have I gone up in the confidence and then fallen down into realizing that how much I don't know yet? Getting there. Right now, I'm still kind of on that peak, thinking that I know what I'm tweaking. Haven't yet hit that wall and realized how much I don't know. But here's what I got. So hitting the trails in that 84 volt board was it was an experience. One thing I quickly realized is the amount of torque you have moving forward is exactly equal to the amount of torque you have in braking. I thought the braking would be anytime you're moving forward, the wheel's moving forward, and you go to lean that tail down, that it would be regenerative braking. But actually, what seems to happen is the board is accelerating in the other direction, even though it is moving. So it's kind of fighting itself for a moment there. What I'm trying to achieve, and I know a lot of other people have come before me and probably faced this same battle, is very aggressive acceleration, have that strength, but when you go to approach these hills, I want some coasting brake. I want to be able to sag that tail down and coast up mission style. It even affects when I'm doing curb nudges. I've been doing a few of those today, goofing around in between the rainstorms. I'm noticing that when I go up to do a regular curb nudge, it's like I come in and then I lift up and burp, full stop. It just stops because it has so much power. It's just 84 volt skirt. And it's ready to just take off in the opposite direction. So I don't have any of that coasting to get up over that curb like I'm looking for. Don't know what we can develop on that. I see that Nico is working on a handheld device right now to have variable tilt back on demand with a flick of a thumb, a little switch he's got going there. Really interested to see what he's got going there. But as far as starting out no VESC and jumping in after just a few days of really digging in and playing with it, I feel like I have a much better understanding of what used to be just magic. So one thing that I had to go through and fight was getting my board initially set up. I thought I had copied everybody's instructions, but the one thing I was not doing was a full IMU calibration. And the IMU, that's essentially your accelerometer, your gyro. It just kind of knows exactly where you are. So that's in the controller, and that's going to tell you, you are oriented like this, here, 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 in the relative to gravity. So you turn the board upside down, it's going to read that properly. If your board is 90-degree offset, like it's on its side, you could have some problems if you haven't calibrated your IMU and your board thinks that you're in one orientation and you get on it and try to activate it and you got nothing. What happened to me is what's happening to a lot of folks in the newest version of the Lil Fokker. You've got to offset by 180 degrees the orientation of one of the fields, and you'll figure that out when you get there. There's XYZ axis, and the community will help you out. That's one thing I'm loving so far about the VESC is there's a bunch of enthusiasts, a bunch of hobbyists like myself that are really interested in just seeing what this can do, seeing what you're capable of doing, and getting to the best settings. And all you got to do is reach out to a few people and ask, and they will help you. Like, they're energized and ready to help you. And if they don't know the answer, they have a suggestion of who else you can talk to. And so that's been great so far. I've been getting help from Corbin from my Renty boards here in DFW. He's who I got that CVCSO battery from. I've been getting help from from Makers PEV. I've been talking to Brian a little bit, also Makers PEV, and my boy Nico. Everybody knows Nico by now. So I've been getting some tuning help from all those folks and just trying to do the rest myself, do a lot of Googling. My whole YouTube algorithm has already changed now. It was just like float life videos and sleep noises on a black screen. Now it's just like filled with all kind of nerd stuff. Like for real. Like the suggestions I've been getting now, I'm just kind of laughing to myself because like, yeah, I fed it that information, so now that's what I'm getting. But as far as the ride experience I've been getting so far, yeah, really fun. As long as I'm going forward, it is a blast. The trail I went to this Sunday, Reveille Peak Ranch, it was awesome. There was a lot of really technical stuff on some granite and quartz natural slabs. A lot of like rough, rocky transitions that you have to just try to navigate through. The type of stuff you see Austin Silva and Dave Stewart ride out there in the Tahoe area, that real rocky chunk. Right there in Texas, didn't even know about it. So it's great for tuning because you'll go to, I'll go hit a hill and I'll notice, oh, I'm scraping my nose. What can I do differently to not just like hit my nose and stop? Because I've seen people just start at the bottom of a hill from a dead stop and just drive right up it, steep hill on a VESC board. And that has every bit to do with how you tune it. The way I had mine tuned yesterday was not really for that purpose. It's more for a comfortable and forgiving trail riding experience. I've got the W rails on mine. So the way I have it set up now is when I turn it on, it's true level. So it looks like you're hanging it on the wall. Both nose and tail, same height. What I'm working with now is a fixed tilt back of a negative 1.6 degrees, so that'll drop the nose down once you get going. And I tried that at like 2 miles per hour equivalent, because you can't just put in miles per hour. You have to figure out what ERPM means, and ERPM is relative to RPM and the number of poles in the motor hub. So 30 magnets all the way around. It's about pairs. So pair is 2, so 30 divided by 2 is 15. So if you want to know your ERPM, it's just 15 times your RPM. So if you got a 10.5 inch tire, you're going around, that's a circumference of, where is it at? 33 inches. So every rotation, you've got 33 inches of travel. You just moved 33 inches for one rotation. Your ERPM is 15 times that. So 1 RPM, that's 15 ERPM. You calculate that up, and that's just from Googling. I'm probably like way wrong here. That's just from trying to find these calculators on my own. So yesterday when I checked my trip data, I wasn't recording anything. I haven't figured that out yet. Like the One Wheel app will log your entire ride as long as you're connected and tell you your max speed, and it'll chart it where you went, that speed and such. There's a few different apps where you can collect all of that data and review that. I want to get there, but on my initial ride, I wasn't messing with cameras. I wasn't messing with data recording. It was just all about, like, I wasn't even listening to music. It was about me and the board and the boys, you know, just chasing around and having a good time and trying to hang on. So the max speed it said I registered was most likely wheel slip. It said 31.6 miles an hour. So I didn't go that fast. I'm familiar with that speed getting near nosedive on a GT, and I didn't see things flying by at that speed. So it's like, all right, that's probably wheel slip. And so I figured that out. I free spun my wheel holding my board and reached 44 miles an hour. Like, okay, let's see what I can do with that. Speed demon here. Let's see how fast I can get up to. So I realized there's a setting in the VESC tool to say what your tire diameter is. If you want very precise readout of your miles per hour, you want to put your actual tire diameter in there, and it's in millimeters. So just ask Siri, hey, what's 10.5 inches to millimeters? And it'll say 267. So put that in there. If you got 11-inch tire, 280. There's options. That just calculates your speed. That doesn't affect the performance whatsoever. It's just for your data. One thing I did notice is there's a lot less forgiveness in the heel to toe roll. So as the board started tipping this way, as I'm navigating that chunk, and the board kind of drops down and does all this, anytime I would hit like this, it would accelerate in that direction. And so it was twisting and turning me, and there's an adjustment. I had to try to keep up with that and like twist my trunk and try to steer it back in the other way while I'm also like dropping on the different rock sections. So those are difficult anyway, but there's a different learning curve to that board. I would like there to be an adjustment of don't accelerate unless and this is left to right, travel is this way. I would like it to be don't accelerate into the roll until you reach a minimum angle. So if anybody knows what that trick is, could you drop that in the comments for me, please? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out now. I want looser trucks, essentially, on the a little bit more range of travel to wobble around before it engages and starts accelerating in that direction. I also want to figure out how I can make the brakes weaker than the acceleration. That was a quick thing I realized. The logic of that motor was not the motor but the controller. It's like regenerative braking versus accelerating in the opposite direction. But one thing that makes me comfortable to just go out there and give it a try is I have a good working condition board right now. Back it up. So anytime I'm out there tweaking the settings, if I mess with something too far, or if I accidentally change some numbers in my pocket because I didn't lock my screen and it writes somehow, which happened once, I can just go back and either look and see if I can find the change with my eyes or just restore that configuration. If I mess that up, I can jump on Facebook Messenger, text message, and reach out to a few folks, and they know exactly how to get me back to where I started. So you guys are going to have that same experience coming into this just like I did, plus more people, because every day that goes by, somebody else is getting into the VESC. More little Fockers are getting delivered to homes. More people are downloading the VESC tool. It's a great time to be one-wheeling because I've been hearing about VESC since I started. Didn't really know what it was. I could tell right away back then it was over my head. I knew I wanted to learn how to get really good on just the factory boards before I ventured out into the jailbroken boards, because I didn't want all of that stress and pressure and time spent doing the research behind the scenes. I just wanted to be out there riding. And that's going to be really easy for you guys to do soon. They're working on the VESC 6.0 project, and I'm being told that's going to have riding modes. It's not going to be like one app and you're going to swipe through the 5 pre-selected modes like you're going to get from that Future Motion offers us. That does take a lot of the worry out of it, but this is going to have where you can talk to your buddy who lives in Bentonville, hits those trails all the time. Hey, what's your tune? Can you send me a good tune? And he can send you one, and then you just load it right in there. And now you've got a good trail setting for Bentonville. come to around Dallas where the trails are mostly soft and flat, and you just want some really high speed, something that can turn really fast without having berms, and that's what we deal with. Boom, there you go. You want to go to, you just want to go on a street ride and ride like 30 miles in one night, high speed, all concrete. Boom, here's a tune for that. You want to go to the skate park and get inside the bowl, and you want to do nose slides, you want to do tricks, you want to do ballerina twirls because this board can do that. Boom, another tune. So that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. So right now, I'm primarily a trail rider, but I'm also working on tricks and stuff. I'm trying to dial in this board to be just an insane trail beast, because that's my primary focus for the upcoming season, is making it to race for the rail. So I'm going to be doing everything I can to master this board, heighten my skills and abilities, and all the while I'm going to have to keep stock GTs charged up and ready to ride. So when I'm charging my VESC, I'm on a stock GT. Enduro and Ignite foam grip tape, because those are the two upgrades you have to make a comfortable ride. But I'm going to be in there, VESC, charge the VESC, GT, hit the trails, because I have to stay fluent in both of those in order to be competitive next season. I feel like a lot of people are going to be bringing DIY boards to these big regional races, and when we're doing the ride any boards you want time trial section, I think there's going to be some DIY competition. I'm going to go on record right now and say that 3 out of the top 10 times are going to be on a VESC board at a minimum, because one of them is going to be me. I'll tell you that much. So that's how I'm feeling right now, and this is only like 3 days into VESC. So I got a lot of my questions answered. I've got a nice tune set up on this board. It's only getting better from here. I tell you one thing that was really cool is that that constant tilt back setting that I was talking about, where I dropped 1.6 degrees down and then that doesn't kick in until a set speed. I just changed it in my setting to go to 8 miles an hour initiation speed. So I'm thinking 8 miles an hour starts to drop down, and then you really get into it. But let's say I hit a hill and I slow down to sub 10 miles per hour, then I haven't tried it yet. It's all muddy outside. I can't hit trails for a while, but my hypothesis is if I'm slowed below 10, it'll come back and take away that tilt back, which will essentially give me a little bit of a extra nose clearance while I'm trying to climb the hill. There's a thing called torque tilt back that you can set it to where if your motor is experiencing additional strain, like if you just hit a hill, if you set it to plus 15 amps, that's like a factory setting. That means my motor is using X amount of amps just hauling ass straight. Something happened to cause me to need 15 more amps to keep doing the same thing. So it thinks I'm going up a hill. So it's going to lift up the nose to whatever you tell it to, and that should give you extra clearance. Keep going up that hill. People are saying that with the new settings that fixed a lot of issues, you don't want to use the torque tilt back anymore. So I'm going to play around with that, see what the sweet spots are. I'm wondering if my constant tilt back will be enough. Maybe not. But one thing that feels amazing is when you really just try to haul ass on a straightaway in a nice flowy section. This 84 volt machine just takes off like the DeLorean in Back to the Future, just leaving flames behind me. Like, I took off and there were GTs, there was a line of GTs behind me, and I was able to out accelerate all of them and get like a couple of turns ahead. When we got back to the chunky sections and I had like climbing issues, they were catching up to me just fine. And I was having more errors with having an unfamiliar board. So they were able to get past me, and then it was a constant game of leapfrog. And when you're just out having fun with your boys, like, you don't care about placement. You just play the leapfrog all day. That's where I am now. So I would drone on for another hour, especially keep drinking. So I'm going to go ahead and call this a wrap. So drop your questions in the comment section below. And if you're curious about anything, like I said, I'm a newbie to VESC. I'm getting into this. I want to share my experience of how hard it really is to get into this process, how daunting and how intense the man hours are for messing with this board. If it really is just like a easy to just jump into and start having a great time, and so far it has been. Let me know what kind of content you want to see, what kind of videos. Let me know if any of you guys out there are on the fence, about to get into this. I can help you with what I've learned so far. I can put you in contact with people that have way more knowledge than I do. And also, let me know if I'm spouting off a bunch of nonsense that has already been disproven or there's already an answer to. Hook me up. It's only going to help the community. Thanks, everybody.